Hey everyone, welcome back to my completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And it's really late when I'm recording this, and it's been a long day for me, so if my commentary and gameplay are not up to par, then forgive me for that, but there's no other way if I want to get this episode ready for tomorrow. So anyway, in this episode I think we'll take care of some unfinished business and then try to progress to Chapter 3, because I really want to finalize Senashira's dual class and get her up and running. And going to Chapter 3 is going to accomplish that, because in the process we're going to get a pretty big chunk of personalized experience for everybody, and it's going to be way more than enough for Senashira to reach level 10 in Mage and regain her Kensai abilities. I could probably, she's pretty close to that 250,000 mark, so I could probably do some other things to try to squeeze in the necessary amount of experience, but I think it's the right call to go to the Chapter 3, because also we're going to get some pretty good items, and yeah, I think it's I generally progress to Chapter 3 pretty early, and then we're going to stay in Chapter 3 by far for the longest time out of all of the chapters. And anyway, come to think of it, right now we have a very similar situation to what we had at the beginning of Baldur's Gate 1, when at those early levels Senashira was kind of an oddball and couldn't really do too much in the beginning of the whole playthrough. It was only at around like level 3 when I got more comfortable with sending her to battle in melee, due to her having some more HP at that point and those nice improvements to Thaco. And now in Baldur's Gate 2, Senashira also started out pretty slow, being this level 5 mage. But once we're done with the dual class, she's going to come to her own and be back at the forefront of the playthrough. So anyway, first off, let's just do a little quick save and finish off this whole business with Tyrdir being buried alive and these kidnappers that we just killed in the last episode.
Stand where you're at.
So here's a Lady Elgea, the captured victim, I guess, that they tried to get the ransom for, and of course she demands to be freed. And if we go the good way, the good route, I guess, and of course accept that kind of way of approaching the situation, then we can explain what happened here. And she doesn't really have anything to give us, and she's just going to, go to her freedom, I guess. And we get some experience, but that's basically it. We would be able to get this note, but I'm going to show you now after quick loading.
It will be done.
We're going to do a different route.
Stand where you're
Now she has a different dress, apparently. But yeah, you do not seem to be in a position to demand anything. And yeah, we can say that we have not decided yet whether we want to rescue her or to get the ransom. And basically, we unfortunately have to do this kind of evil deed to get the silver pantaloons, because that's the pair of pantaloons that we can get in Shadows of Amn, and then in Throne of Baal we can get the bronze pantalettes, and together with our golden pantaloons from Baldur's Gate 1, the 3 pairs are going to be used for something in Throne of Baal, and I intend to show that in the playthrough, of course. So here we have a note from someone called Welther, saying that they will meet the demands of the kidnappers and bring the ransom after nightfall in front of the Copper Coronet. So basically that's the thing. We can collect that ransom instead of, Amsi and Reti and Chamitis, I guess, or Chamitis. And we basically continue in that way. And like I said, in order to get these silver pantaloons, we have to do that. So at one moment there, I wanted to say this and that at the same time, and Vas was the effect. Anyway, let's go back to the slums.
Without
I
hesitation.
think we might rest soon, but we have some unfinished business in the slums. Well, in the Copper Coronet, to be exact. Right. First,
Speak.
I still haven't cast this Find Familiar spell, and let's actually... Well, what am I doing? Let's actually examine this spell a little bit. Of course, feel free to pause and read the description for yourself. But basically the thing is, and this spell can only be cast by our protagonist, and it's going to summon a familiar, so kind of a magical pet, that has a very strong emotional and physical bond to the mage. And basically the thing is that the familiar is going to be different based on our alignment, and there's going to be a list at the bottom. And the main benefit of it, though, it doesn't really matter what your alignment is, because the main benefit of the familiar is the bonus hit points that we're going to be able to get from it for our mage. And the downside is that if the familiar gets killed, then you permanently lose 1 point of constitution. But anyway, the difference is when it comes to good aligned familiars, the lawful and neutral good get the pseudo dragon, and chaotic good, so we get the fairy dragon. Oh yeah, we actually can get a list here. The evil alignments get basically imps and mephits, and the neutral ones get there's a ferret, there's a rabbit, and there's a cat. And here's our fairy dragon, and it's a pretty cool familiar because it has this area of effect invisibility spell, which can come in handy. Generally these familiars you don't really want to use in battle because they have really low hit points, and you know, when they die you get that permanent constitution loss. In the case of Senashira it wouldn't actually matter too much because she's not getting any benefits from constitution anyway, but you know, we want to avoid that kind of thing. And basically, the thing is that they will give us half of their hit points. So these, when summoned in Shadows of Amn, these familiars have 24 hit points. So Senashira is going to get a boost of 12 hit points. So that's pretty nice, basically for free. And if summoned in Baldur's Gate 1, they only have, I think, 12 hit points. So you get a bonus of 6, and if summoned in Throne of Baal, they actually have 48 hit points, so we get a bonus of 24. But yeah, we're going to summon it right now. It's been long overdue, this cast. And yeah, here is our fairy dragon. And we can actually talk to it, but let's prepare a nice spot for it first. Because of course we don't want it to die, and we don't really want it to be out and about, and we're going to actually be able to store it in our backpack. So basically it's 12 maximum hit points. Now she has 102 and she was at 90 before. So you know, basically you trade 1 inventory slot for 12 hit points. So that's a pretty good trade in my opinion. So let's talk to our familiar.
This will not take long.
We can actually ask his opinion about, you know, our current situation. Can just ask how he's doing, and of course, depending on the familiar, they are going to, you know, talk differently. Like for example, imps are not going to talk like that. Yeah, this one is pretty happy in general, just being with us because, you know, we have this like strong emotional bond with it. Yeah, we can ask it for advice, and I think. Yeah, since we are in chapter 2 and we still have that, you know, our task for now is getting that 20,000 gold for Galen Bale. You must collect gold, my lady, coins and coins enough to find your answers. So that's why he provides this kind of advice. And we can pet and play with it. And then finally, let's just get it into our backpack. Yeah, so now he's here. And like I said, it's pretty useful because we can get it out, we can summon it whenever we want, and he's going to be able to cast that invisibility spell, which is useful in some situations, but generally like 99% of the time he's going to be just sitting in our backpack.
What is it?
Alright, now another thing that I haven't done yet is dealing with Surly.
Speak if it must be
So if we
done.
talk to him, and we have to be kind of aggressive with him so that he actually opens up a little bit. if you're too nice to him, he's just going to cut the conversation off and end it. So yeah, we can ask about what those like matches are all about, and he's going to explain that those are dog fights, and we can bet on one of the dogs, and you know, lose or win money. But now that we know that he is organizing dog fights, I am very much opposed to that kind of thing, and that's why we are going to deal with Surly. This is kind of weird that this activity is basically still allowed after the changes to the Copper Coronet, after we freed Hendak and the slaves, because basically all of the other things, like, you know, the arena fights, of course, and actually Madam Nin is not present anymore here, so pretty much all of these different, like, backdoor entertainment types were removed, but not this, like, dogfighting pit.
What is it?
So anyway, Surly, goodbye. Yeah, not much to gain from it, but, you know, our satisfaction.
You point, I point.
And I didn't really want to deal with him earlier because sometimes the guards would go hostile from just, you know, this fight occurring here. Sometimes the guards would go hostile before, you know, freeing the slaves and stuff. And also, if you remember Tiana, that lady, looking for her husband, I've actually I've seen her going hostile from this fight occurring for some reason. So I just didn't want to make, you know, things go wrong in the Copper Coronet. And here Nalia approaches us again, and I think this time I'm going to go through her conversation so that we're done with it.
Is anyone willing to hear my plea? Anyone?
And we're actually, since we've already heard that, we're actually going to send her ahead into the fortress.
I've helped lots of your kind.
But anyway, you look capable and hearty, like you've had formal training. Look, we apparently look like a mercenary. So, we might be able to help her if she explains. Yeah, my land is under siege, and none of this rabble will aid me. And after all I've done for their kind, too. Please, can you assist me? Yeah, so what does she mean? Like, rabble, their kind? She is obviously a noble. Yeah, some people are just more privileged than others. It is not my fault, but I do my part to help those beneath me. You'd think they would be grateful. Yeah. She tries to be nice, but she doesn't come off as a very nice person in this initial conversation, at least. Yeah, so she tries to be a good person. She hates, actually, the nobles that hold themselves above everyone else. And yeah, she talks about the poor classes, the less fortunate, and she tries to, like, be charitable and just give wealth to them. She's basically a naive communist. And she changes a little bit in Throne of Ball. It's actually pretty cool. I'm not sure if I've mentioned that before, but it's pretty cool how some characters change, even in their voiced lines. Even some of their voiced lines are different in Throne of Ball. That happens especially. Anyway, so let's get to know what this is all about. So she's not going to tell us who besieges her homelands. She's just going to say that she managed to, like, sneak out and look for help, and her father and, you know, her forces are still defending the keep. And she will offer to travel with us, but I'm not going to accept her yet. So yeah, we're just going to send her ahead. And she's going to place the Diarnese Keep location on our map now. Would you like to see my boo? Try telling that to a newly met girl. And yeah, Jaheira doesn't like Nalia very much after this first impression. Alright, so Nalia finally will stop bothering us. And next on the list, what did I want to do? Actually, I see that Kira and I leveled somewhere in the last episode, I think. So we can give her one more level. Now we can we can keep leveling her up. You know, as she actually gains experience, we don't have to hold off on levels anymore. And I think I'm just going to pump up stealth, so that in a couple of levels she should have a pretty decent stealth and a chance to just stealth pretty reliably on her own. Now, I think, yeah. Now, in order to progress to Chapter 3, we have to get 15,000 gold. And I know that Galen Bale talked about 20,000, but his offer is going to change. So let's just get rid of... actually, let's hold on to one of these normal plates still. Let's get rid of some of these like basic things. Oh yeah, you have 2 plate mails. Well, that's a little suboptimal how I did that. I'm even tempted to like sell these gloves of pickpocketing because, and I think I definitely should do that, because Kirinai as a Kensai cannot use any gloves, and by the time she gets the high level ability, use any item that would allow her to equip gloves, that's going to be like so much later in the game. So yeah, and we're not going to have any more thieves now. So we can sell that, and we should have a lot of different like gems to sell here. So let's see how much money we can get out of all this. Like, we're already done with what we needed. Just trying to be pretty quick with this, as you can see, and I've mentioned that before, but these different items and jewelry, of course, are worth less in Baldur's Gate 2. So you could see that, for example, with the emeralds, they're worth 450 here instead of 750 in Baldur's Gate 1. Diamond is only 300 instead of 500. The Laurel's tier necklace, instead of 3000, it's worth 1800, and so on. Yeah, we have 2 of these actually, that's very nice. I left that diamond because I think I'm going to upgrade that. Like, I could sell it, but it doesn't really matter. That one, like 300 gold, it doesn't really matter. It's way better to just hold on to the diamond so that we can upgrade that horn of Valhalla soon. Yeah, so, wow, our financial situation is actually pretty good. Now, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that diamond out and put it into this gem bag so we don't accidentally sell it. Alright, now when we go outside, we are going to be approached by someone.
Hello, friends. Might I have a word away from the ears of others? I would impart a fine bit of business your way.
Would you now? And what might this be?
Well, truthfully, it is not for me to say. At least, not in full measure. My mistress would have words with you about concerns you have no doubt developed on your own. She has watched you for a time, though she is not the only one. Those that you are asked to trust spy as openly or more so, and she offers a solution to your problems of privacy, among others. She is worthy of your trust. If you feel worthy of hers, come to the graveyard district in the near future, and she will speak her offer. Make your visit after the sky has darkened. She will not be there before then.
So yeah, we have to go to the graveyard district, apparently, to meet this person who offers us her aid now. And she basically alludes, or refers to Galen Bale, and that's going to be apparent after what happens right after this conversation. Yeah, that those that you are asked to trust. Of course, you know, follow us and spy on us as well. As it's going to become obvious in a second. Anyway, we can ask like whatever questions, but she's not going to answer anything. The thing is that we have to go to the graveyard district during the night to meet with that person.
Questions, questions. All will be discussed in proper course. Meet where discussed, and you will have your answers. Think on it, but the door is closing soon. Do not delay too long. Farewell.
Without
Wow,
doubt.
an adventurer.
Alright, so here's a follow-up. We meet Bruss again, the boy that works for Galen Bale, his nephew, I believe. Yeah, Uncle Galen sent him here, and apparently Galen Bale wants us to see him. Yeah, am I being followed? He's like, don't look at me, I just do what I'm told. He said to tell you the offer is sweeter, so here I am. So yeah, he wants to sweeten the deal and renegotiate our contract. So that basically...
Grandma, who said I'd never amount to anything more than a butter knife.
Lilarcor. So yeah, that's basically going to be the choice. And now we have a counter proposal from someone else to the proposition of Galen Bale, and normally I would ignore it because I am going to go with Galen Bale's offer, but since this is a completionist playthrough, we are going to check it out. So I think we're going to rest once, so that it's going to be nighttime, and we're going to go to the graveyard district and check it out.
Whatever you want.
Without hesitation.
I got some cheap beer for ya.
Oh, and we get a dream.
A dream. A dream of many things, of friends and family. These things always mean something, don't they? Do you remember these doors? I remember... I think... Yes, this was my home for so long. But it is too late to go back. They wouldn't have you now. They wouldn't have me. It had no use. Someone else does. He wants something. I don't know why. Those in the cows don't even know. Why don't I know? Do you remember Gorion? Or the others? I think I do. They were... No. Wait. They were the guidance. And there was much more to learn. But it's too late now. They are so far away. You are far away. Too far away to help. Why? Memory should stay, but he digs deeper. Pushes everything aside. I don't remember any of you. Do you remember Saravak or any other? I don't know. They sought your death and mine. They seemed so important at the time, but I don't remember them at all. Something else is more dangerous. Closer. I can feel it. Do you remember me? I can almost see. I want to, but too late. You will come too late.
She resists. She clings to her old life as though it actually matters. She will learn.
What is this place? What is this all about?
It is a portrait of what has happened and what may happen. Do you cling to the past, or can you see through the pain? You feel the potential within, don't you? Will you cringe from what you know you want, what you can take as your own? You know what you want. It is you, after all, which has brought us to the dream. Nothing is real. Yet.
Whew. So yeah, the dream sequences in Baldur's Gate 2 are not just written descriptions, but actual in-game kind of cutscenes. And you know, they can get old after seeing them many, many times when you're just trying to, you know, get a quick rest and then follow with your playthrough, but I actually really like them. So anyway, we had a dream about Imoen, of course, letting us know that Irenicus is already kind of performing, or maybe through the dream we suspect that, because, you know, he said that nothing is real yet, and it was our dream, of course. But we basically suspect that Irenicus is already performing some experiments on Imoen, really messing with her mind and with her memories and basically, you know, her psyche. So yeah, this is one of the things that should motivate us to be quick, I guess, about trying to rescue her. And there's going to be a couple of these dreams, and I realize now that I think we had one more identification on our glasses, and I could have identified some of these.
Yes?
Anyway, now there's nighttime, and there's Welther here, and I think I'm just going to check the graveyard district first. We're going to check that that other offer first, and perhaps in the next episode probably we're going to showcase some different outcomes with Welther. So let's revisit the graveyard district.
You have arrived. I had worried I might have to discipline Valen for failing to deliver her message. I am Bodhi, and I greet you warmly.
By the way, Valen, that person who of course told us to come here, there's actually a mod that introduces her as a recruitable companion. Anyway.
You may be concerned about why we must meet here. There are a number of reasons, only a few of which you need to worry about. First, I shall introduce myself. I am Bodhi.
Well, you already did.
I have asked you here because we are unlikely to be overheard, and so you can see the benefits of working with me. Follow, please, and stay exactly in my step. You would regret doing other.
So yeah, we already have some of our party members being pretty suspicious of her. She is going to be an incredibly important character in the story.
This is the entrance to the hold that I offer you access to. Oh, I am sorry. I've moved ahead of myself. I should outline what I intend.
I'm very familiar of that kind of type of behavior, Bodhi.
You are employed, of course, and do errands occasionally. No doubt you have questioned the intent of your employer on occasion. If you haven't, then you should. You work for the Shadow Thieves, on the pretense they will help locate your missing companion, Imoen. Yes, they are Shadow Thieves, and yes, they are as nefarious as you've probably heard.
Shadow Thieves. I would offer an alternative. I would help you find your friend for, 15,000 gold. It is a sizable amount less than the Shadow Thieves have asked for, and, coincidentally, it is what you have now. Yeah, she knows a lot about us. And of course our good aligned party members basically are pretty suspicious, advise us to use caution and basically not trust her, and are going to tell us to be wary. Yeah, Harry wants to leave. Yeah, so we can ask her some questions. You know an awful lot about me. Where have you learned all this? I know a great deal about you and this place, Sinashira. You are a relative newcomer and have much to learn. Certainly you have had your doubts about those helping you. You will be unable to turn down my offer, even if I demand a few gestures to prove your loyalty. There is a monopoly in this town, and I intend to break it. I will ask you to weaken the resources of the Shadow Thieves. I am not so vain as to think them easily destroyed, but many of their members will join with me. I make no illusions about what will be required of you. I will wish you to kill, and I will wish you to terrorize. You must determine if you have the stomach for it. Well, we want to do nothing of that sort. 15,000 is a lot, but I will compensate you well for it. You will ultimately have Imoen, and a few magical trinkets too. And rest assured, I will help you find Imoen. I will help you find Irenicus. but not just for your reasons. I have an interest in Irenicus myself. Support me, and you will revel in the destruction of the largest criminal organization south of Waterdeep, though the big bad thieves have been rather soft of late. So yeah, a lot of information she provides to us here, and basically, just to speak a little bit more in gameplay mechanics, you know, there is a choice that we have to make, basically, to ally ourselves with either her or the Shadow Thieves through Galen Bale. And she is basically the leader of that rival guild that we've been hearing about. We've been hearing about this guild war between the Shadow Thieves and some kind of a new guild. So that's her organization, and we have to choose one or the other. And I'm basically, it's kind of set up in a way where Bodhi is supposed to be kind of like an evil option, whereas the Shadow Thieves are more, you know, supposed to appeal to a good aligned group or a neutral aligned group, basically. And that's kind of how it is. They are the lesser evil, and I am going to go with them. But of course, since this is a completionist playthrough, I wanted to thoroughly check the other option as well. And we can ask, what is her interest in Irenicus? Is she in league with him? You must bear this as one of the additional conditions. I offer much, and I expect much in return. Imoen and Irenicus will be your joint goal in time. The details are mine to keep. If you wish more, you must join me. As I said, your duties will be morally suspect, and you may face more enemies than you wish. Now is the time for deciding. I cannot wait too long, and I tire of talking. Choose your allegiance, the masters you serve, or the mistress that will let you destroy them. And we suspect that she has something more to do with Irenicus. You are a deceitful creature, in league with my enemy. I refuse your offer. That is unfortunate. Very well, you may go. You have made an enemy here today, and I will face you on my own terms when the inevitable time comes. Yeah, Jaheira being pretty cool here. This is a really cool response. I like this. Boldly said, creature, yet you do not face us. Seneshira has been underestimated by far better. You will rue the day of conflict when it comes, I think. So yeah. Also, I forgot to mention last time we were exploring the bridge, the graveyard district, that yeah, this door is locked, and it leads to her, basically her headquarters, and we'll basically gain access there much later. And here's Viconia, by the way. So yeah, now that we have basically chosen, we still have to talk to Galen Bale. But we basically made our choice, and now we're going to go back to the slums and actually progress to chapter 3 now.
Certainly.
And this also now the differences between the two guilds are the quests are kind of similar. Sometimes you are basically doing the same thing, just on the other side of the conflict. But when it comes to some items, for example, there are some differences. Like, for example, by joining Bodhi, eventually we would have access to a Throne Axe +3, for example, which we're going to lose out on in our playthrough, which is of course not a big deal, not a big deal at all, actually. But for example, by joining the Shadow Thieves, we are going to get immediately 2 good items, or like 1 very good item, actually. So yeah, there are some differences, but there are more like moral differences. There are, like I said, some differences in the items, and you know, the quests are going to be different. So you know, it's more like replayability for the game, I guess. Anyway, also, do you remember the hidden stashes from Baldur's Gate 1? Now, there are some stuff like that, some stashes like that in Baldur's Gate 2 as well. But the problem with them is that I think because, you know, in the Baldur's Gate 2 engine you always had tab available, they probably didn't want to like put anything too powerful into those, and basically that's the problem with those stashes, is that they don't really contain anything interesting. They basically always contain like some minor random loot. Like in Windspear Hills, there are some hidden stashes like that in the outer like wilderness and stuff, but they basically like never contain anything unique like they did in Baldur's Gate 1. Anyway, let's hear about Galen Bale's offer.
If
I'll
will
be
be
of
done.
help to you, if I can.
Yeah. So he of course knows that we are above 15,000 now, and we apparently don't need any more, because the masters changed their hearts and they will accept 15,000 alone. It is a competitive rate, I think. Yeah, so that's the new deal. They wish to speed proceedings along for your benefit and theirs. Alright, so let's pay the 15,000 right away. And also, one last thing that this is going to unlock, going to Chapter 3, we haven't seen any of these events yet, because I specifically didn't want to trigger them. But there, especially during the nights, there's going to be a series of different events that can spawn as we go through the streets. And in some places, basically an encounter can spawn between the Shadow Thieves and that other guild, the members of that other guild. And now that we are going to be in Chapter 3, we are going to be clearly on the Shadow Thieves side. So we are actually going to be attacked by the other guild. Whereas if we spawned these events in Chapter 2, we would always have the conversation option to kind of back out of it. We would be able to say that we haven't chosen yet and we want to stay out of their conflict for now, and they would accept that. Anyway, let's pay the 15,000 and progress.
Very good. Just so you be knowing, you be going to the Shadow Master Aaron Linvale.
Step carefully, my lady. The Shadow Master that does not suffer fools gladly. So yeah, this is the personalized chunk of experience. Now Senashira has way more than enough. Here, a key to the Shadow Master. Find the secret door on the first level of the Shadow Thieves Guild in the docks, an orange brick building west of the area entrance. Of course, we've been there already. Yeah, as unlikely as it seems, the Shadow Thieves will prove to be the least of all evils you will encounter.
Allies are expensive in the city of Coin, but you are certain you have made a wise investment. Through Galen Bale, you have purchased the aid of Aaron Linvale, Shadow Master of Athkatla. As ominous as that may sound, you have little other choice. Already you have felt the influence of those working against your search for Irenicus.
Oh yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, Reynold Bloodscalp, of course, is not the true leader of the Shadow Thieves. It's Aaron Linvale that we only now are going to have access to through a secret series of passages.
The girl they brought in, she's a cute one, isn't she?
I do believe I'll have to practice some enchantment spells on that one.
Hold. What was that sound?
You two, the new prisoner. He's escaped.
What? When? Where is he?
He's in the lower... Gods, no. He comes. He's here.
I cannot be caged. I cannot be controlled. Understand this as you die, ever pathetic, ever foolish. Hello, little one. You and I have a great deal to do.
What are you planning?
Not to worry. Nothing worse than what I shall do to your friend.
Whoa. So yeah, those were some classic lines by Irenicus. I cannot be caged. I cannot be controlled. And of course, I do believe I'll have to practice some enchantment spells on that one. Anyway, so now we are officially in Chapter 3. And I think we're going to explore all of the options after finalizing Senashira's dual class and all the other stuff in the next episode. And for now, I thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you next time.